Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Talking Cafe Live on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Today, I'm joined by Jane Crocket, who is one of a couple of people that run in the wild out in Wiveliscombe, and they get people involved in nature. And also Jane, from her own point of view, lives off-grid and is here to talk about both of those things. So living off-grid and also working with nature, and really excited about this. And it's so lovely to see you, Jane, back out in the fresh air, and we've got sunshine, which is making this so much easier for you, I'm sure. And it's just lovely to see you. So welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So what would you like to talk about first? Do you want in the wilds, or what you do?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we could start off with in the wilds. I mean, I bought my computer outside because I thought this is all about being in nature. This is all about, having no impact on the environment, about bringing people outside, about being able to connect with our environment. So I thought, okay, I don't want to do it in my office. Let's go out. So we're sitting out here under the glorious oak trees, beech trees, and it's lovely and cool. So in the wild, basically, is something I set with Helen Rook, who also lives in Wiveliscombe. She was a leading light in WACI, which is an organisation called Wiveliscombe Action on Climate and the Environment. So we actually met through my husband because he was going to the meetings, and they realised that she and us had a lot in common. And he said, "Oh, you need to talk to my wife, talk about really into doing stuff outside, and we're thinking about running courses and things like that." So Helen and I met, and her and her husband, she's got 3 small children, just bought a bit of land on the opposite side of the valley from us, and they wanted to, like Paul and I, my husband, to be able to enable other people to be able to come and be in these beautiful spaces that we are lucky enough to have. And so to start running courses and workshops and pop-up cafe, which is all outside, and the idea is to have minimum impact possible on the environment. So set up, Paul and I are lucky enough to have 2 bits of wood. We live in one bit, and we set where the workshops go in the other bit, which is beechwood. There's actually a workshop going on as we speak. They're doing willow sculpture. They're making deer over there out of willow. Yeah. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, I haven't got any Wi-Fi or data to go and show you. Am I staying on point here, guys? Tell me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was looking at all the different things. Yeah, no, you're fine. I was reading about the willow sculpture, actually. So, yeah, please do go on.
So where was I? So yeah, at first we set it up, and we were gonna run courses on both the sites, and then we realized that was absolutely bonkers, and we were running ourselves ragged, setting up a course in one, taking it down, coming up here, doing another one. So now we've based ourselves up here on Hayden Hill Wood, Eastwood, and a fortnight ago we ran a course building a roundhouse. It's fantastic, 12-meter roundhouse. It hasn't got a roof or sides yet, but the structure amazing. And that's going to be the hub for the courses, and it's all made from our own timber. So
yeah, I've seen the photograph of that.
Yeah, you can see the photographs on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and on our page. So that is brilliant. So there's no, literally the trees are grown here. When they've reached an age where, because we have got a lot of conifer, when they've reached the age where they're not going to get any bigger, they're not doing any good for anybody or themselves, we've been cutting them down. We built our cabin out of the trees here that we live in. Anyway, so the roundhouse is built from that. So it's all totally sustainable, and there is no electricity or water over there either. So you have to set everything up. So the idea is that people can come, all ages. We run stuff for adults, for children, for teenagers, and you can learn a skill or a craft, or just be in this beautiful space. And reconnect, be able to hear the bird song, be able to breathe properly. I mean, even people who live in small villages or small towns, I think we tend to forget what's out there because we're so busy, caught up. And, especially after COVID, where the outside world seemed really scary, Helen and I think it's even more important now for people to get back in touch with the environment and with nature and to feel part of it, that it isn't something that's separate from our lives, that we are part of nature and nature is part of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the healing properties and just the well-being for people. I mean, there's been so much research done on, the benefits for people's mental health, being out. Being out in nature. I mean, nature's such a broad thing. I mean, even if it's a city park, just sitting under, or just being out there, sitting under a tree, or having your bare feet on the grass, just making that contact is very important. And I think we tend to forget it. I mean, even I can forget it sometimes. I live in this beautiful place, but I'm so busy just seeing all the work that needs to do. I forget to just sit in it,
Stop and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Breathe it in
and breathe it in. The most important thing, our ethos is that you come out to the countryside, or you go to the park, or wherever your open space is, and you leave nothing except, and you take away only photographs. You don't take anything from it, and you don't leave anything. You just come to it. And within the wild, you come to it and you can do something, which is even better. So
how is it going to, with, like, say, so the roundhouse, which I've seen, and that's where your course is going to be. So how do you go about setting up, because obviously you do need to get water there and electricity. Have you got like a solar, or have you got wind, or how?
No, where Paul and I live, which is in the other wood, which is, I mean, as you walk, it's just, a 5-minute walk through the woods and across a lane. We've only got solar at the moment. We live totally off solar energy. We have a borehole, so drink water straight out the ground.
Wow.
But it means we have to fill up containers and take them over to where the roundhouse is, where the courses are. We have no electricity there. So we cook on an open fire or the barbecue, because Paul and I also make barbecue charcoal.
Yes, I've seen that.
So we cook on open fire or the barbecue. We boil kettles on a trivet. And the food, I prepare the food here in my cabin and then take it over. So I've just come back from taking food over for their lunch just now over at the... And then, so that's how it works. It's, and it does work. We had a pop-up cafe, our very first one, on Sunday. And despite having no running water and no electricity, we had 41 people who came and sat down and drank with us. Which is amazing.
Wow. And is that advertised just on the website?
No, we did Facebook, Instagram, the website. I think there was even a Google advert for it. But a lot of it is because we want to keep it quite... the idea of someone driving 80 miles to come and be in the countryside is kind of counterproductive, really.
Yes.
So it's difficult because obviously it'd be great if people could come from Bristol or places like that. I mean, we have had one student and he's come twice all the way from Manchester, which is incredible. With the cafes, we'd really like it that local people came, and so we had people who walked up from Waterrow. We had other people who came from just across the valley. But it is on. We are putting it on Facebook and Instagram, like I said, and it's also, the site is right on next to a footpath, which is part of the Wivy Way, which is a circular walk you can do from Wiveliscombe. And it's also a new walk that's just started called the Brendan Towers, that links all the church towers of the Brendan Hills in this area.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so you come right past the corner of our wood. So we're sort of encouraging walkers to come in as well. And we had a cyclist who cycled all the way from Chard. He he just hallucinated when he passed the cafe on Sunday. It was like he'd cycle from Chard, and then cycle all the way around Wimbleball, and then was cycling back to Chard via Wellington, and saw the cafe, and it was just like, oh my god, this is just
Yeah.
and had lots of cake to keep him fortified for the journey home.
Yeah.
But
he must have thought it was a mirage.
He did. He said, I thought I was hallucinating at first.
Yeah. So how often are you planning? Are you literally going to sort of like a couple of days' notice going to do that again, or are you going to have?
No, we've got a next one. We're going to do them once a month in the summer, obviously only in the summer, and the next one is on the 4th of July.
Oh, brilliant! Okay, I remember that.
We're also having making flower crowns that day for midsummer.
Right.
So it ties in with the Nordic tradition where they make floral crowns on midsummer, and because in Norway, in the Nordic countries, it stays light for 24 hours at that time of year. Yeah. So we've got an amazing local florist who has a flower field down in Hagley Bridge, which is just down the road. So she's going to come up with lots and lots of flowers, and people can make flower crowns or a flower wreath to take home.
That sounds brilliant.
Okay, and
so you froze a little bit then. So
I was just saying you could come.
Yeah.
Make a floral crown or a floral table decoration or a floral wreath for your door and have lunch or tea and coffee or all on the same day.
Right, so we'll put that on. I'll make sure we sort of like advertise that on.
Yeah.
From sort of like, because also you live off grid. So what difficulties, obviously it doesn't come without difficulties. So what are the main difficulties?
Okay. Yeah. It's funny. The amount of times people say to us, oh, wow, you're living the dream. And I say, okay, you can come up here when it's time to empty the compost toilet and you can see what living the dream is, that having an outside compost toilet in November.
It's the worst.
It's not good. That's hard. I mean, compost toilets, I think, they make sense totally. The idea that we pour gallons and gallons of really good quality drinking water down the toilet is ridiculous. I think people are dying in parts of Africa, in parts of the world, because they haven't got clean water. It's just that ours is outside. And so there's that. What else? The difficult. Oh, winter. There isn't enough daylight hours to keep your batteries charged with solar energy. That can be hard. So, I mean, there are ways of having washing machines and freezers and fridges like that, but at the moment, we're minimal. We've got quite a small system, so that's hard. Not having a washing machine. I mean, I know they're first world problems, but when you've had all that and then don't have it, freezer. I'd love a freezer. Yeah, because we have animals that we need some store once they've gone to the abattoir. Yeah. And that's hard. So all my friends have got their freezers full of pork and lamb. It's ridiculous. Other than that, I love the idea. I love it. I love the idea that you can live totally independently. We are going to get a small wind turbine at some point.
I was just going to ask if you were going to look at wind. Yeah.
Going to expand the whole system so that we can have, a few more mod cons. That should be good.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been there?
We've owned the wood for 11 years and we've been living here for 3.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of questions pop up, if I can ask them. Can anyone purchase land and adapt to off-grid living? What process, the planning, all of that?
It's really, really hard to just build on land. So you can buy a field and you can apply to change it from agriculture. You have to have a reason to live on the land. You can't just buy a bit of land and then put a house on it. You have to say, I need to live on this land for my business. And you have to prove that your business can only survive by you being there 24/7. You can buy land and you can put something on it and you can be there for 28 days a year. legally without permission. But if you want to be there more than 28 years, you have to get permission. We have temporary, which means you have 3 years to prove that you have a valid business, and it is, you have to be here for it to run. So, I mean, with charcoal, it's pretty obvious you have to be here because your burns last up to 24 hours. And, you know, and we've got a tree nursery, which obviously you need to be here for 24/7 because of watering and pests and all of.
Yeah.
But you can do it, but you've got to have a reason for doing it. You know what I mean? Rather than it just.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Because you've been there the 3 years and you've got this business, now it's sort of like applying. Does it become automatic, or do you have to reapply?
Yeah, you have to show them your book. So our cabin is temporary. We built it around a mobile home.
Right.
So because it has to be a temporary structure in those 3 years,
Right.
it's easily come apart and be moved.
Right.
So we're in our 3rd year of running the business. So you have to keep your books, and then you have to show them that one person who's living there, doesn't matter how many of you are doing it, that you've made enough money for one person to live on solely from that business you told the planners was what you were doing. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I've had a colleague ask, how many families live off the grid in the UK? Do you know? Is it? Don't know.
No idea. I have no idea. No.
So obviously you chose to go, you chose to go down that route. Is there a community at which you can ask for advice, or did you have to find everything out for yourself? You had to go and do all the research and.
Yeah. I mean, we know people in the area that have maybe been living off grid for a long time, and yeah, they could say, well, this is the best place to buy your solar panels, or this is, so this area is, everyone's absolutely brilliant about supporting each other in the network. So, when we needed the borehole dug, everyone told us this one person to go to, and he was absolutely fantastic. When we needed help to put the polytunnel up, someone said, "Oh, this is the person you need." Do you know what I mean? So that's how.
Yes. So it all came together piece by piece.
Yeah. First of all, we built a shed, then we built a toilet, then we built then we've got a timber frame barn, then we got the borehole, then we built the cabin, then we put the polytunnel up. So bit by bit.
Brilliant. I was looking, and I still am, so I'm going to glance at all of the courses that you do. So I'm going to mention to people all of the different courses that you do. So the Roundhouse, the Roundhouse is a 2-day course. Do people stay up there with you, or do they have to go back again? Do they stay on site when they do that?
They could, but most people people who've travelled have been staying in Airbnb, or like last weekend, one of the guys was staying in a shepherd's hut. We will be able to offer camping next year, but at the moment, I mean, if someone's desperate, you would say, "Yeah, come and put your tent up," but it's not really part of it yet.
No, that's fine. And then you've got the charcoal, which you've talked about, so making your own charcoal. And then the stonewalling looks amazing. And your tutor is Jim. So is that somebody that comes in to do that? To build that?
Well, all our courses, we have tutors coming in to run them. Obviously, I mean, Helen and I've got many skills, but not that many. So I mean, when we built the pole barn, my husband did that because that he can do, and Helen's husband as well. They ran that course. With the round timber, we have this amazing master craftsman come and do it for us. Stonewalling, Jim is an amazing. He calls himself Odd Job Jim. He's based in Woolwich, and he does. He's a very talented, very skilled man, and he's very good at stonewalling, along with many other things. The person we've got doing the willow now is called Jo Sadler. She comes from near Sherborne, I think, just this Somerset side of Sherborne. But she's been running courses on her own for a long, long time, so she's really, very good at it.
Yeah.
The painting course is Louise Ward, who lives in the village, and everyone knows painting, her work. We've got an amazing story.
You've got bunting coming. You've got beautiful bunting. So you've got somebody that creates bunting. That looks amazing.
It's very, very beautiful. You go foraging, you go and collect the leaves and the flowers and the plants, and then you manage to transfer those onto. She's using synthetic fabric going to landfill because obviously you can't cycle it, and then there's a process. She's got a special bit of equipment that she's bringing to use, but then people can go home, they can do it with an iron.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and then one of my colleagues has said, when doing events and visiting, she's put about the camping, which we've discussed. So if you were coming for an extended visit, is it possible, are any of the events so that they could do maybe one thing one day and one thing the next, or are they quite split up at the moment in terms of time?
Well, because this is our very first year and we set up under COVID, we've really just been sort of putting it out there and seeing what happens.
Okay.
So at the moment they're like, the longest one was the pole barn. That was a 3-day one. And then the painting and the roundhouse for 2-day. I mean, the people who have come from far have been finding their own accommodation. We are planning in the future to have a new model where maybe we could work with some of the camping, the glamping sites or the barn stays where we can do bespoke courses for them so that they could stay somewhere in the glamping. So everyone gets to share a bit of what's going around, and they can come and do a day of, I don't know, a day of painting, a day of wood carving.
So they can do that, So it's
but
really
not this year. Hopefully next year.
But that's really exciting for you.
It's been very, very hard to plan because of COVID, and with everything changing. We had our first event last June, so we've had to restrict the numbers, and then we had to think about what's feasible and what isn't, and then we cancel loads last summer. So we're just,
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm looking at now as I'm talking to you about like 8 to 12-year-old activity days. So like wood survival. My children are both grown up, but they would have absolutely loved that. So surviving in the woods, learning bushcraft and survival skills, and plenty of games, and then you can do that as a family. Stick man and stick woman and stick dogs. I like that. So stick men and stick women, and that is Michael Loader. Take your family.
Michael Lauder, yeah.
He's Lauder, So a fabulous adventure in the woods. Oh, I see. So he goes through the woods and does stories as he's going through the woods.
Yeah, and the kids get involved as well, and they they make their own stickmen and they make their own puppets, and they make a song up together, and and the parents have to be there, but they're not there. They have to be present, but this is the kids' thing. The kids just
brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And somebody had just popped a comment on about finding you. So how do people actually find this site?
Well, the site is only open when we have courses or events.
Yes, of course.
And then you go on the website or our booking platform, which is called Eventbrite, and you have maps and directions. Once you've booked something, you get access to. I mean, we have a little map on the website. You can see where it is. You can actually see where it is, but it's not open access. It's it's still private woodland. So it's only when So when there's a date in the calendar, then they book on to come, or they can just come up and have a look what's going on.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to look at the calendar for the 4th of July because that sounds really good, and I'd love to come.
Yeah, be nice to you to come.
So that's when your next pop-up cafe is, and the flower
and the flower thing. Yeah, the
headbands. So yeah, I'd love to come to that. So I'll be looking at that. I don't know what day of the week is that? Is that a weekend?
Sunday.
A Sunday.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I'll be looking at that.
All the pop-up
all
cafes
on a
are
Sunday.
and most of our courses are at the weekend, obviously, so that people can come.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. So you may, hopefully you'll see me there, because I would. Yeah, that sounds really good.
I'll look out for you, Chrissy. Well,
yeah, please do.
Make sure you can,
I will.
Sure
I've got it open on. Here we go. I've got it all open. I've got your site open on my phone, and I just pulled the calendar up. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Jane. That's really
inviting me. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, not at all. Oh no, we're happy. Take care. Lovely to see you.
Can I just ask, where is this broadcast live now? Or?
Yes, so we're live at the moment, and then what will happen is it then gets put out through our Facebook page and also onto YouTube. So the plan is usually we get around, and it's usually shared by a good few hundred people. So, and quite locally, and as individuals, we'll share it through our own individual Facebook pages and YouTube's, and then CCS also do the same. So there'll be a good few hundred people looking at it. So hopefully we'll get you inundated.
Oh, thank you very much. I've been, I was really well. I thought I'd have nothing to say, and you couldn't shut me up, could you? So
brilliant, excellent. It's lovely to meet you.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you up here.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Bye.
Bye.